I decided to do a series called Hurricane Healthy Marriages because my family and I live in the Tampa Bay area, and of course we recently went through Hurricane Milton. And whereas I usually do still videos, I'm actually going to walk around while I do this, which will be an interesting experience. But it seemed to make sense that we should be outside after a storm. So I decided that I wanted to talk about some things that we can do to help keep our marriages healthy during storms, whether it be hurricanes or any storms of life. I've lived in the Tampa area pretty much most of my life, and I've been through a lot of hurricanes, and I will tell you that Hurricane Milton was definitely the worst. So if you're not used to hurricanes, usually you have about a hour, depending on how big the storm is, maybe 2 hours worth of really high winds, depending on how close you are. It doesn't last for more than an hour or two. But because of what happened with Milton, where it actually spread out once it got across land, we actually had 6 hours of consistent wind, high wind gusts. And so that was very stressful. I'm going to show you some of the debris here by my neighbor's house. So yeah, you can see there's lots of tree branches down. And I'm actually going to head over here to one of our neighbors' houses who had a tree fall in their yard. They're in the process of getting it cut up now, but you can see here, if I turn around, that you can see they had a tree, very tall tree, probably 40, 50 feet, that fell and landed right next to their house, and it just pulled right out of the ground. There's a huge root ball there, and they're cutting it up, so I'm not going to keep going that way. But yeah, so with storms, you have this, if you know the storm is coming, like with Milton, you have this hurry up and get ready kind of adrenaline that you're working through and trying to get things ready to go, deciding, are you going to evacuate, are you not, if you're going to stay, what are you going to do to protect your property. And that can be very intense, and then that's such a focus that sometimes we forget about the people around us, about our spouses, about our families. So I'm going to actually do several videos on this so they don't get too long, but my first tip for Hurricane Healthy Marriage is to remember to stay kind to your spouse. So you're all busy, you're getting water, you're getting gas, you're trying to get your house ready, you're trying to evacuate, you're trying to pack, all these things are happening. And we're so focused on that we take our family and our spouses for granted. And we can often take out our stress on them, by snapping at them, by yelling at them. And while that's understandable, you want to remember that the reason why you're doing this is to keep your family safe, because you value your family. And if you value your family and your spouse, you need to keep in mind that you have to treat them kindly. So when you start to feel that anxiety, take it out in some other way. Take it out on the work you're doing. Take it out on exercise. You're already burning a lot of energy if you're packing and leaving, or whether you're putting up shutters or whatever. So just take out that energy elsewhere. Here again, you can see we really did very well. We only had a little bit of debris, and we actually still have power, but some of the houses across the street don't. There's actually, as of yesterday, when people were coming back from evacuating in the Tampa area, there were supposed to be 1 million homes still without power. So that adds another level of stress. So that's my first tip. Be kind. Try not to take out your frustration and your stress on your spouse or on your family. And if your spouse does, if your spouse snaps at you, this is not the time to address conflict. You need to get to the point where you're safe and you're past the storm, and just maybe forgive. Just understand that this is a stressful time and we can let things go. My grandmother always used to say, life's too short. And what she meant by that was that when you think about how short life is, there's a lot of things we make a big deal about that really don't need to be a big deal. And we could just love and forgive instead of taking those things personally. So that's my first tip, and I'm gonna talk about several more tips.